The Fear and Greed Index is currently sitting at 12, recently setting the yearly low this Friday, November 21st, 2025 at 10. With the yearly high being set during the Trump election pump on November 23rd, 2024, it certainly seems like we are at the polar opposite of what we saw this time last year. Crypto sentiment is also down at its lowest rate going back to October of 2023, resting right here in the area of somewhat bearish, but being well below what we've seen going back to that time. And with most of the cryptos being in absolute correction mode for about the last 2 months, if you have bought at any point in that time, it has absolutely seemed like the market has been completely against you, resembling something in this regard. Let them buy the dip, then dump it again. But even though the markets have been an absolute roller coaster ride, what fun would it be without the excitement of waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check crypto prices only to see an absolute sea of red? Your money in the bank? Boring. Your money on crypto? Hold on for dear life. And even though the crypto market has been an absolute bloodbath, are there still some great opportunities in the market? Let's find out. And as always, this is not financial advice and is nothing less than the rantings and ravings of an absolute lunatic. The MMRI is down just slightly, sitting at 251, still in the high-risk category, down just slightly from what we've seen over the last few weeks. And currently, the market is being dominated with green. We are starting to see some very nice gains, with RAIN up 128% on the day, SPX up 10.7%, Pump up 11.9%, SUI pushing up at 10.6%, some of the ISO coins starting to gain some ground, with XRP up 7.8%, Algo up 3.6%, XLM up 3.7%, Telcoin getting a little bit of a gain, up 5.8% for the day. Jumping over to the weekly, we can see that RAIN is absolutely dominating, with cryptos that we saw doing really great last week, like STRK being down 29.2%. After being in the top 3, we can see that quite a few cryptos did take a massive hit. Dash down 26%, TIA down 19%, Hype down 15.7%, DOT down 13.4%, ICP, after going on a heck of a run, down 20.3%, Filecoin down 18.9%. And currently the 900 through 1,000 market cap ranking category currently down the most at negative 6.1%, with the 501 through 600 market cap category doing the best at negative 0.1%. But do me a favor and hit that like button before we get started. I would really appreciate it. Jumping over and taking a look at Telcoin, which is one of my favorites and is one of the cryptos which I am continuing to accumulate a little bit each day, continuing to build my position over time, which we can see set its all-time high right here on May 10th, 2021, 5 years ago. We are currently down 91.47% from that high, which was set at 6.5 cents. The all-time low was set on March 12th, 2020, nearly 6 years ago, at 406516, and current price is up 8,397.8% since hitting that low. So there is still quite a bit of room resting below current price and between breaking the current all-time high. And starting off taking a look at the daily chart, we can see that there is a larger wedge pattern, which I've talked about in my recent videos, with this smaller descending wedge pattern within that triangle. Price has currently broken above the upper trend line and is trading right in this area just below this bearish SIBI on the weekly chart centered at 0067. If we zoom in even further, as I've also talked about, with this 5-wave move potentially being a smaller fractal of a much larger move to the upside, we can see that we had wave 1 here down to the wave 2, bouncing off of this bullish fair value gap here in the green. Moving up to the wave 3, we have since pulled back for the wave 4 termination, which came perfectly to the 0.5 fib before bouncing up to where the current price is trading. It looks to me like what we are doing is starting to form this 5th wave which is actually a subwave, in my opinion, of a much larger impulsive structure moving to the upside, with this actually being a wave 1 moving into the wave 2, up into the wave 3. Now, if this is the case, what I would expect to see is this price come up here, taking out the wave 3 termination, setting the wave 5 termination, and in going into the primary wave 2, what we could see would be this ABC pulling back down to the area of this upper trend line, which correlates with this bullish fair value gap right here, which would essentially be a retest coming off of that moving into the wave 3, which would look more like this overall, being a wave 1 into the wave 2 on the retest, moving into the wave 3, breaking through this bullish order block on the weekly chart right here, centered at 0.0161, moving up into the wave 5 here, which could very well take prices into that range we just discussed, where the all-time high is resting in that 6-cent range. So I will definitely be watching this very closely. I think Telcoin has its brightest days ahead of it, and we are going to see incredible things coming from the Telcoin Bank, which, as you know, is the only licensed and regulated digital asset depository or crypto bank in the United States, beating even Ripple to the punch with the first mover advantage. So I will be watching to see how this wave 5 plays out, likely to test this upper trend line of the primary triangle pattern right here, then watching to see where this wave 2 pulls back for this ABC, because this would be the area you would definitely want to be on board moving into the wave 3, because that would likely be the biggest move that we would see coming out of this entire impulsive structure. Dialing out here on the weekly just to give you a better idea of the overall pattern that we're dealing with the larger triangle right here, with the current descending triangle pattern right here, breaking out to where price is trading right here, with this impulsive structure potentially taking us up to these fib zones right here. This certainly won't happen overnight, and it will take several months for this to occur, but I do believe that Telcoin has an incredible future ahead of it, and I'm certainly not going to be one of the people that misses it. And I've also noticed that they've recently added Telcoin to the liquidation heat map, as Telcoin has recently been added to many other exchanges for the first time, giving people the opportunity to actually buy the coins for the first time ever. There hasn't been enough time to actually accumulate any data for these charts, but it is good to know that it is being added so that we can use this and utilize this tool in the future. So this will definitely be something to watch for. And if you would like to support my channel, the best way to do that is to join my Patreon. You can also join for free if that better suits you. Another way is use my code and check out Bitunix. It helps the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Now jumping over and taking a look at Zebec, known as ZBCN. ZBCN is currently trading at 007105, which is 51.66% below the all-time high, which was set on May 29th, 2025, 6 months ago. The all-time low came in at 306921, set on August 5th, 2024, just over a year ago. Current price is trading at plus 396.19% of this all-time low. There's still quite a bit of space between ZBCN's current price and hitting a new all-time high. The current ZBCN chart is looking very interesting. This is the daily chart. Price has been trading within this nice wedge pattern since setting the high right here, which also happens to be the all-time high, and setting the pattern low down here in this bullish fair value gap on the daily, which was hit here and recently right here. The price pulled up in a 5-wave move to the upside, has since consolidated with a WXY correction breaking below the pattern, taking out this bullish order block right here and trading back into this wedge. Price is currently trading below the equilibrium zone, but it's getting very close to testing the equilibrium line, which is the green line in the center of the equilibrium zone. If price can break above this upper trend line, that would be incredibly bullish, but it definitely has its work cut out for it because it has twin bearish order blocks resting just above it, with one being centered right here at 0063179, just below the previous all-time high, and the lower block sitting right here at about 0055565. Almost sounds like the lyrics to an 80s song if you think about it. But looking at this chart, we know for a fact that we have great support resting down here in this bullish fair value gap, being hit twice by previous price, with no candle bodies forming within it, only wicking into this area for liquidity. With price breaking below right here, below this lower trend line, it effectively swept all of the liquidity from this entire pattern going all the way back to May of 2025, which gives it all the room that it needs to move to higher levels, potentially testing this trend line here, as well as these bearish order blocks. With this being the all-time high as well as the pattern high, if price can eventually get through these bearish order blocks, there's literally nothing stopping price from moving up significantly into the range of price discovery once again. And the last time we reached price discovery here, coming out of this low on April 23rd, moving into this 5-wave impulse to the upside, the move was absolutely spectacular. Coming off of this low, we saw price increase over the course of about 40 days, 923%. And I have no doubt whatsoever that if price can break out of this wedge, get through these bearish order blocks here, taking out the previous all-time high, we could see an absolutely incredible move. And with this being a WXY correction being completed here, it's very likely that this could in fact be the wave 1 right here starting a new impulse. But that remains to be seen, and at this point is incredibly speculative. Jumping over and taking a look at the ZBCN heat map, this is the 1-month chart. We can see that the price pushed down, taking out this biggest band of liquidity right in this area here, pushing down to this low right here, basically exhausting all the liquidity below. Price has since been generating liquidity on the way up. There is a thick band of liquidity resting down here at 20289 range, where price is currently consolidated and is currently breaking out of. But the thickest band of liquidity is resting right here, centered at 00393. So we can clearly see from this heat map that the vast majority of the remaining liquidity is resting above the current price, which is a good sign that price could push much higher, at least into this particular range here. So I would definitely be keeping my eye on this area here, as well as to see how much liquidity starts to accumulate below current price as it rises. But just looking at this particular chart, you can see that price is flagging very nicely right here with this wedge pattern and current price breaking above. That's a very, very bullish sign in my opinion. ZBCN, like Telcoin, is one of 3 cryptocurrencies right now that I'm currently buying a little bit each day, adding to my positions, which I'm planning on continuing to build over time. Regardless if the market's going up or if it's going down, I'm still continuing to buy, adding to those positions. Now, why would I be adding to these positions even though the market has been pushing down and there's a chance that the market could continue to push down even further? It's because I believe in these 3 cryptocurrencies and I believe they're undervalued even at current levels. Just imagine being able to buy Bitcoin at $3 after it had pushed up to $30, buying it all the way down to where it bottomed out at $3, with everybody telling you that you're crazy the whole time. 30, 29, 25, 20, 15, 13, 10, 7, 5, 3. And then looking at it from today's perspective, what once looked to be absolutely insane was now one of the best times to invest that you could imagine, even with the current price having dropped as much as it has down into the $80,000 range. I believe that we will see something similar with these 3 cryptocurrencies over time. I'm not saying they're going to go to hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I still believe that they are currently undervalued. But of course, that's not financial advice, and that's just my personal opinion. So good luck and have a great day.